She's muted.
Yeah, we can't hear.
I am muted. My computer just went out for a minute, but I'm back now. How about that? Okay, so let's just go ahead and get this party started, ladies. Okay, technology, you just got to keep it moving. How about that?
Right. Because at first I was like, wait, what happened? Did that just happen on both our end or just mine?
It was just me. Okay, ladies, don't cry for me. You know, what I'm going to do is attempt to take you down the road. And I want you all to listen to a poem, a very powerful poem by Deborah Garcia Gayton. And it's called Don't Cry for Me. Don't cry for me. I will be okay. Heaven is my home now, and this is where I'll stay. Don't cry for me. I'm where I belong. I want you to be happy and try to stay strong. Don't cry for me. It was just my time, but I will see you someday on the other side. Don't cry for me. I am not alone. The angels are with me to welcome me home. Don't cry for me, for I have no fear. All my pain is gone, and you know what? Jesus took my tears. Don't cry for me. This is not the end. I'll be waiting here for you when we meet again. Amen. Now, this beautiful poem, as I said, by Deborah Garcia Gayton, sums up the mindset, I pray, that we all will have concerning death. Death is not a thing to fear, but it can leave us with a sense of loss because of the loved one that is no longer with us. Now, death, we will all be there one day. Try not to meditate on death itself, but rather meditate on how we live our lives while we are still here. My guests tonight, Nakia Wallace and Anita Fauntleroy, will give us a glimpse of their life while caring for a loved one that is terminal or when an unexpected death has occurred. Both have a scripture that they turn to for strength. Nakia's strength verse is Jeremiah, 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Yes, love it. And Anita's is Proverbs 3:5-6. We know it well. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. Amen. Ladies, please introduce yourself and tell us your testimony as a person that was left behind after the death of a loved one.
Well, am I gonna go first? You wanna go? I'll go first. I'm Sister Nakia Wallace. I'm from the Inner City Church of Christ here in Baltimore, Maryland. What can I say about myself? That I'm very outspoken and excited about the things that the Lord has done for me and continues to do for me, despite all the things that be going on in this crazy world. I'm an advocate for, friendship, conversation, and spreading the gospel in unique ways. This right here is a great and exciting way to spread the gospel other than telling somebody you want to have a Bible study with them. because people be like, Bible study, no, I'm good. But just I'm down for open conversations and, about the Lord and letting people know what the Lord has done for me and just the way I live and certain things I be going through. So that's just a little bit about myself.
And I am Anita Fauntleroy. I am also a member of the Inner City Church of Christ. I have two sons. They are now 18 and 24. I've been in Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised all my life. When I experienced my loss, I was 4 months shy of being married for 20 years. So that's a little bit about me. And I too believed in sharing the gospel, loving the Lord, living the Lord, seeking the Lord, and just real conversation, being open and honest about experiences and just life, because you experience things, and what I realized, you're not the only one. So when you're open and honest and real, you realize, hey, I am going through something and I'm not the only one. So building relationships also is important to me.
Great. Now, what I want you all to do is just kind of tell us your story.
Okay, so I'll go first. So my grief process / journey started on October the 14th, 2018. And it's when my husband passed, he was 50 years old. And at the time, my youngest was 15 and my oldest was 21. And my journey started with a phone call. I was on my way home and I received a phone call from my youngest son. And he said, Dominic found my dad. And instantly a lot of things started going through my mind. I'm like thinking to myself, what do you mean by found? And then I asked him, I said, what do you mean by found? And he just went silent. And I said, okay, I'm 2 minutes away from home. I'll be there. Just let me get home. As I'm turning down my block, pulling up close to my house, I hear ambulance, fire truck. So I started to panic. So I just put the car in park, jumped out of the car, ran in the house. And I see my oldest son over top of my husband doing CPR. And I just started panicking, hollering, screaming. And then like within seconds, the paramedic come up behind me and they were like, well, who are you? What are you doing? And I'm like, this is my husband. This is my house. And they was like, well, you have to go outside. So they immediately put me out. So I'm outside freaking out because I'm not 100% sure what's going on in the house. So I called my sister. She lives around the corner. And I said, you just need to get here. Just get here. So when she got to the house, they let her come in and they gave her a little bit of information, and she came outside and they was like, well, he's not responding. They're hooking him up to the machines and we just have to wait and see what they say. It seemed like they was in the house for a lifetime because we were outside waiting, and they finally brought him out. They had him connected to everything. And my brother-in-law asked me, are you going with them? And I froze. I couldn't think and I didn't know what to do. Felt like my legs was about to give out. So they was like, well, we have to go. We can't wait. We have to go. So they took him to the hospital, and then they finally got me back in my car and we all went to the hospital. When we get to the hospital, we was waiting, and then the nurse finally came out and said, everybody here in the Fauntleroy family needs to come over into this room. So we go over in the room, and as everybody is coming in the room and sitting down, when she looked at us and she was just like, I'm sorry he didn't make it. Like so many things just started going through my mind. My body started reacting, my mind was reacting, and I just ran in the bathroom and I was just trying to process everything, but still didn't believe what she had just told me. And she said, we're going to clean him up and then we're going to let everybody come in to see him. When we finally got in the room, it just looked like he was asleep. So in my mind, because it was still hard for me to process this information, I was just like telling myself, he's just asleep. Like, and we stayed there for a couple of hours. And when we finally left the hospital, my mind was telling me he's gone, but I was telling my mind, no, he's just there asleep. So when I got home, some family and friends came home with me and they sat with me, and I'm still in denial about him actually being gone. So this was Sunday night. Monday morning, we was trying to make some phone calls and get some things together. And my oldest son went to his car and he was in the hospital that Friday. So Monday morning, we finally got the paperwork from the hospital and it said he refused care. And then that's when anger set in. Like, how can he do this to me? How can he do this to us? He knew something was wrong, and why he didn't say anything. Still a whole lot of emotion, still a lot of processing, but I can just remember anger just taking over. But then after we started making additional arrangements and we started making plans. So from the time I left the hospital until the time we finally saw him at the funeral home for the viewing, I was still processing the information, but my mind just wouldn't allow me or let me accept the fact that he was actually gone. And I didn't really accept the fact that he was gone until I saw him laying in a coffin. So when we got to the viewing, I went up as close as I could. I made it to like the third row. And I just couldn't walk any further. So when people was coming in and they was viewing the body and they was asking me questions and they was like, well, did you go up? And I said, I just couldn't. I sat on that third row the whole time and I cried and people tried to console me and we talked and we just did a lot of things in those hours. But when a lady finally came in and said, you got 15 minutes left, so we just want you to wrap it up. And by then it was like close family and friends still left. So my brother-in-law, he came and he grabbed my arm and he said, Anita, it's time. Because I was telling them the whole time, I said, I know I need to go up, but I just can't. So when he finally was like, it's time, and as at each step going closer and closer to his coffin, it just got harder and harder and harder. And in that moment, when I finally made it up there, it was like, yes, this is the moment. My brain was saying, yes, he's gone. And that's when I finally accepted it. And the funeral was like 2 weeks later. So that 2 weeks was difficult because, again, I was trying to get my mind to process the fact that he was actually gone, but I didn't want to believe it. I knew he was, but I just kept telling myself, and it was just like hard to believe. But in that moment, when I got up to the casket and saw him laying there, is when I finally was able to say, he's gone and he's not coming back. And I just broke down. And when I turned around to go sit down, like all my family and friends that were left there, they had me surrounded, and that let me know that I wasn't going to be alone. And after I finally got myself together later on, my grandmother, she's an interesting person. She was like, you cried for 15 minutes. That's how come I knew I cried for 15 minutes. But in that moment, I just had to accept the fact that, yes, he's gone. And now you have to start doing what you need to do to move on. Not forget about him, but move on, because the shock of it all was tough. So the next day for the funeral, it was still difficult. But when we got to the burial site, it was like another shocking moment, because this is when you say your final goodbyes and then you leave him there. You can't take him with you, you leave him there. So it was another difficult moment for me. So after we left there, we went and we spent time together. And for a couple of weeks after, my family and friends, they let me lean on them, and they were there for me. They spent, some of them spent the night with me. Like for the first 2 weeks, I would say I had at least one person staying over, making sure that me and my sons were okay. And I say that because in those moments of grief, we feel like we can do things on our own, but we can't. Your mind is here, there, and everywhere. And when people say, what can I do? I was able to say, well, can you handle this? And you handle that, or you do this, or you do that. Because when you try to make decisions and your mind is here, there, and everywhere, you just don't know what to do. And even Nakia, she was amazing, because she, like the day of the funeral, she was like, Anita, if it's too much for you, just give me the look and I'll just shut it down. And I was like, that's what I need. Like, just give me the look. Like, okay, perfect. But when your mind is trying to process everything and you're full of emotions, again, you don't make good decisions. So you definitely need people, because I'm the type of person, I would shut people out and say, well, I don't need any help. But in those moments, it's like you definitely need somebody there for you. And I was so grateful to have the circle of family and friends that I had, because they they there for me and my sons. It was a long journey. I had people to tell me, you shouldn't be grieving this long. That's, if you want to be there for a person that's grieving, you should never tell them how long they should grieve. You can ask them what they need. You can sit there with them, and like in some moments, my family and friends would just come and we would just sit. I would just cry. They wouldn't say anything, and that was amazing, because you don't want people telling you how you should and shouldn't feel. One of my clients gave me some telephone numbers for grief counseling, and I wasn't going to go at first, because I'm like, I can make it through this on my own. And then when I would wake up in the morning and just sit in a space and just cry, I'm like, wait, I can't do this on my own. So I started going to group grief counseling and individual grief counseling. And what made it even more shocking is when I went to my first session for individual grief counseling, she handed me a sheet of paper, and it was a whole bunch of feelings and emotions on there. She said, circle everything that you're feeling. And I looked down at that sheet when I finished circling everything. I think I circled the whole sheet. And I looked at her and she was like, it's nothing wrong with you. This is normal. Because I thought something was wrong with me, because I had the whole page circled. But she was like, no, you're going to feel all of these things, all of these feelings and emotions. And then in a couple of the sessions, I was telling her how angry I was at my husband, because I felt like he knew something was wrong, but didn't tell me something was wrong. So she said, what you need to do is you need to go to the gravesite and just have a conversation with him. And I was like, I can't do that. I said, that's crazy. She was like, well, think about it. If you feel like you should go, go. If not, then try something else. So for a really long time, I was like, that's crazy. I am not doing that. When I finally decided to do it, something was like, just try it, because I was trying other stuff. So one day I went to the gravesite and I pulled his picture up on my cell phone. I was just having a normal conversation, him right there in front of me. When I say that helped me to release a lot of feelings and emotions, and it was one of those things that helped me to really start my journey on grieving healthy, because it's okay to sit and cry, But if you're sitting and crying for 2 weeks and you're not doing anything and you're not going anywhere, you're not getting dressed, you just sitting and I don't think that's healthy. I know it wasn't healthy for me because again, I had children that I needed to take care of. And I had clients that was reaching out to me saying, well, we want to see you. You need to come out, you talk to us and all of that other stuff. But and then speaking of my clients, because I'm a hairstylist and normally the hairstylist is the therapist, but my clients, they was my therapy and my therapist because sometimes we would be in there laughing and talking. Then the next minute we sitting there crying and I'm just like, I can't have y'all in here crying. They like, no, it's okay. And that's another thing about grief. Every day is different. One minute you can be somewhere and you can be smiling and laughing, then a thought will come through your mind, a smell, you smell a certain thing and make you think of that person. And then next minute you crying. And then everybody looking at you like, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. When you're not okay, you need to say, no, I'm not okay. So when you're not okay, you need to tell people you're not okay. Just so many different things and so many different feelings. And like I said, when my husband passed, he was 50, and I think that's really, really young. And it was 2018 when he passed. And when I say, because I still say it's a journey and a process. Throughout the whole process, I was praying about it. People was praying for me. And then I can remember a whole year later, October the 15th, 2019 was a year later. And I was praying about some things. And when I woke up that morning, the Lord was like, okay, Anita, it's time for you to pack up his things, because everything he left in the bedroom, the way he left it was like that for a whole year. The Lord was like, okay, it's time for you to pack up his things and you can continue on this journey, but his things doesn't have to be physically in this space anymore. So it was like I was having a conversation with the Lord. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with his stuff? He was like, I'm gonna just put it in the basement. And then it was like, okay, so instead of having it physically in the room, I moved it to the basement. So that helped with the process as well, because it allowed me to say, okay, I know he's physically not coming back, but I don't have to actually ever forget about him. The moments that we shared, the memories that we had, all of that stuff is still going to be with you, but you don't need these physical things that he owned in this space anymore. And that's another part of the journey as well, because people be like, I have to hold on to this. I have to hold on to this. Now we still have pictures and stuff at the house, but everything, I packed up everything and I was able to move that. And it wasn't no big emotional thing. So that's how come I knew that the journey and the process and everything that I was experiencing was getting better. Because people ask me, well, how do you know you was getting better? And how do you know that the counseling and the sessions was working? Because I was able to let go of the physical things that he had. One thing that I liked about the group grief counseling, when we sat there the first day, she said, if you don't ever want to say anything in this class, you don't. If you want to talk, you can. I used that Thursday for those 8 weeks. And when I say I didn't say anything, I just sat there and cried, because I wanted to be around other people without somebody looking at me, judging me and saying, she crying again. So for a whole hour, I sat in that class and just cried. And at the end of the class, people was like, you doing good, you doing good. And I'm looking at them like, I'm only crying. Like, how good can I be doing? They was like, no, it's all part of it. These emotions, these feelings out. It was definitely a journey. And like I say, it's been October of this year will be 3. Still have here. Like, I'll say this, when we was married, and he would go to the supermarket, and I've been to the supermarket before, but most of our marriage, he did the grocery shopping. And after he passed, the first time I had to go to the grocery store, I was standing in the grocery store like, what am I supposed to be doing? Because for so many years, he did all of the grocery shopping. So it's little moments like that when you be like, oh man, I miss him. But then the Lord was like, you got this. Make your list the next time and go off of the list. So you'll have those moments where you'll be like, oh man, well, what am I gonna do, or what am I gonna say? And he's normally handling this, or they're normally doing this. But again, that's where you plan out your day, because like I said, sometimes you can sit for 2 weeks, don't go nowhere, you just sitting home crying. I realized early on in my grief process that I had to plan my day out. Whether my plans was, when you get up in the morning from 8 to 9, just sit and cry. And then from 9 to 12, you're going to go to work. Plan your day out some kind of way. Have some type of plan, some type of idea of what you're going to be doing for that day, because you can get lost in the moments of, I'm going to cry for 5 minutes, but end up crying for 6 hours. And sometimes that's not good. And even if you don't want to get dressed, get up and get dressed. Even if you're not going anywhere, even if you plan on sitting in the house all day, still get up, get dressed, have some type of plan. And like I said, have good people surrounding you, not those people that's going to tell you, it's been 3 days, you should be over it by now. Nobody can tell you how long to grieve, because it's different for everybody. Like before, but never like this. And because I think it was a shock for all of us, it was harder. Harder for me. I can't say how hard it was for other people, because again, it's different for everybody. And that was one thing that I realized, grief is different for everybody. And again, those people who want to be there to help the person that's grieving, don't tell them how soon they should be over it, or don't tell them how easy or hard it should be, because it's different for everybody. Each situation is different. Yeah.
Amen. Amen, love. I love it. Thank you for sharing that journey. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but as I can hear, it's a process still, but you're getting through the process.
Yeah.
And for you to share, you don't realize how many people you're touching. We have someone up here right now that's saying the same thing. I know this well. I know this well. And this is good to hear that sometimes you just need to hear what you're going through is not abnormal. So right. I thank you for sharing that. Nakia?
Hey, okay. So my grief process was definitely different. Mine's was a series of losing, because mine's was my mom. And I'm gonna say, I said a series of losing because I said I felt like I lost a piece of me. I felt like I lost my independence. I felt like I lost like my headship and a whole bunch of other stuff. I guess my journey started in 2018. I had bought my house in 2018, and I was excited because, it's my house. I have 3 kids between the ages of 17, and at the time, my youngest was about 3 or 4. And I was just like, yes, I got a space for them to run around, act crazy, do what you want to do, have fun. My mom at the time was living in California. And then she ended up moving to Florida. Like, my mom was a roller. Like, she went on about her business. She ain't asked no questions. She ain't asked nobody for permission. She just did what she wanted to do. And that's like, okay, that's who my mother is. And I'm okay with that. So when I told her, she was a part of the prayer process when I was gonna buy my house and everything. And she had said to me, oh, do you have a basement? I was like, yeah, I got a basement, girl, I got a basement and everything. It's a finished basement. It's a bathroom. I'm telling her this thing decked out, laid out. And she gonna say, oh yeah, so I can come and live with you. And I was like, no, you cannot. And I was like, no, you cannot. I want you to stay in Florida, enjoy Florida, whatever you got to do, love Florida, because you can't come and live in my house. Nobody's coming to live with me. That's what I said to my mother. And, people might be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would say this to your mother. Check this out. I said it. And I wanted this independence for myself. I don't know if people feel the shift when they start to live with their parents, but it is a shift. It's like you start to feel like a little kid again. And I'm like, no, I fought too hard for this adultship and I want it for myself. So I told my mother she couldn't live with me. So a little bit down the line, my mom is calling me probably like in September. She tells me, September 2018, she tells me she's not feeling well. And I'm like, well, go to the doctors. And she's like, well, I'm just, I was like, girl, go to the doctors. When the last time you went to the doctors? Go to the doctors. So she goes to the doctors and I'm like, how you feeling? Everything good? She's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not in no pain. And I'm like, well, what did they say? They was just like, oh, they just running some tests. And I said, oh, okay, cool. She said that, we hung up the phone, and then I get a call from my sister. And my sister said, did you talk to mommy? And I said, yeah, I talked to mommy. She said she good. They just running tests. She gonna, she gonna be out of the hospital in a couple of days. She said, did mommy tell you what's going on with her? I'm like, all right, you tell me what's going on, because she ain't telling me nothing. So my sister tells me that my mother has stage 4 cancer. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna call you right back. So I hang on the phone with her and I call my mom. I'm like, you got something to tell me? That's what I said to her, because she doesn't tell. My mom was like, she didn't want to tell me nothing. Anything that's bad that's happening, she don't want to tell me because she feel like I'm a burden. She's a burden on me. She don't want to be a burden to me. And of course she would probably think that way, because when I told her she couldn't come live with me, she probably had that feeling like, well, I don't want to put this burden on her. And I can understand that feeling, but this is something serious. No, I don't want you to come live with me when you can run, jump, hop, skip, and no, stay on your own until you can't. And then we can talk about that. But when I called, I said, you got something to tell me? And she was like, you talked to your sister? Yes, I talked to my sister. You need to tell me what's going on. So that's when she told me she had stage 4 colon cancer and it had moved also to her liver. And I'm just like, well, what does that mean? I'm not understanding, what does that mean? And she was like, well, I'm gonna need treatment and I'm gonna need all these different things and stuff like that. So I said, okay, well, you need to pack your stuff up and come on back home so we can help you through this process. And she like, no, I'm not. I was like, girl, I don't care what you just said. All I know is you need to get your doctors to sign off on whatever paperwork you need to sign off on. Call the doctor here that's going to transfer your care or whatever. And this is what we're going to do. So I hung up the phone with her and I called my sister and told her what I had decided in my mind to do. And then I let my kids know that, hey, Granny is going to be coming to stay with us. I didn't tell them why at the time, because I didn't know what was going on with her, really. So we got her up here. We got her up here in a matter of like 2 to 3 days. Like, she was up here. And she was here in my house, and she's going through her chemo. She's going through her treatments and stuff like that. And I'm seeing her get well, I'm seeing her decline. I'm seeing her get well, I'm seeing her decline. And when I tell you I had ugly showers, because that's what I called them. I called them ugly showers, because I would go in the shower and just be like, Lord, what is going on? What would you have me to do? Like, this is my mother. Are you telling me that I'm about to lose my mother? I'm crying. I'm not upset with the Lord, but I'm just kind of like, I'm having a conversation with him, because I don't know about anybody else, but if he's my father and my friend and he wants me to come to him straight up and legit, I'm like, Lord, you need to figure this out for me, because I don't know what to do with this. Like, I don't know what to do with this. So I would have those ugly showers where I would just cry in the shower. And then after I cried, I get out, wipe my tears, go figure out what she needed to eat, what she needed to do, like, hey, where you need to go. And she lived with me for 2 years. And when I tell you, she still kept secrets from me in the 2 years that she was living in my house. And I'm like, woman, I'm hearing about her treatment from people at church and what's going on with her treatment. And I'm like, why are you giving? I know we church family and we all cool and stuff, but why are you giving them information that you need to be giving me? Why are you not telling me what's going on with you? Why are you not telling me that the treatment isn't working, that you are tired of the treatment and you don't want to do the treatment anymore? Why do I have to hear that from a third party situation when you live here in my house? So she was just like, well, I don't want to be a burden. I'm like, you a burden. That's what it is. You is a burden. And guess what? It says in the Bible, we gonna bear one another's burdens. And I am okay to bear this burden with you. I don't want you to feel like you are alone in this. I'm here with you. I need to know what's going on so I can process, because if you're making decisions about your life, because it's absolutely your life. But what you're saying is that you don't want to do treatment anymore. That means that you are going to pass away sooner than it's coming. And she was just like, that's when she was like, I don't want to do treatment anymore. And this was, like I said, 2 years after she moved in. This was probably like before Thanksgiving. She had told me she didn't want to do treatment anymore. So I said to her, Mommy, are you telling me that you're ready to die? And she said, yes, I'm ready. I'm tired. And I said, okay. And that's all I could say. And then I went downstairs, got in the shower, and I ugly cried. And I was just like I went, like the tears was coming down. I said, okay, Lord, all right, whatever. I said, I know that this is the process. She's gonna be in a better place. She's in pain. She likes to eat and she can't taste her food. She don't want care and all this, and she don't want to be cared for. Like, she don't want people changing her and all this other stuff like that. And I was like, okay. So I told my kids the decision that my mom had made, which they actually knew the decision before I did. Okay. So I'm just like, all right. So I talked to my kids. I'm letting them know, hey, if you come home and Granny is unresponsive, this is who you need to call. Call 911 first, then call me. And I'm going to say Thanksgiving, she was good. And then the next day, she wasn't. And I called my sister and I called my brothers. I said, y'all need to get here because I don't know how long she got. Y'all need to get here. And my one brother lives in Hawaii. My other brother lives in PA. And I got a brother that lives here in Baltimore City with us. And the only person who came at the time was my sister, because she came. She came. I can't explain my other siblings except for the one in Hawaii. He's active duty military. So, but when we told him that he needed to come, he got cleared and he was here. But he didn't make it for her to see her while she was alive. But my sister came. We spent a whole day with her. It was me, my sister, and my nieces. And we just was talking to her. We was just having a conversation. We was, as much as we could, as much as she was coherent and stuff like that. And we was just going through old pictures. We was just going through stuff. And I feel like that was our moment. That was what it was. We was all there for her. We was all there with her. She had all her grandkids there and everything. Well, my sister, kids, and mine. We was just there. We just had a good day. And the next 2 days, it was getting even worse. And I'm just sitting here like, she can't move. Helping her change and everything. And I told my sister, I said, girl, I ain't about this changing diaper life. okay, so you need to tell me what I need to do because like my sister is a caregiver. I'm not a caregiver. But, I made it through probably like 7 diaper changes in 2 days. And I was just like, Mom, you just got to bear with me because I don't know what. And she's crying and she's like, you doing okay? You doing fine? And I'm sitting here like, remember I told you I was going to hold you down? Like if you ever got to the point where you couldn't baby yourself, I was going to get a hose and I was just going to hold you down like that. I was like, I said, that's what I need. I need a portable hose right now because I feel like I'm pulling and pushing and I'm feeling like I'm making her uncomfortable. But she like, it's okay. I'm okay. And I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. And so Monday, we was with her. Tuesday, Wednesday, we was with her. Thursday, serious decline where she wasn't even really talking. And then Friday, we called the hospice nurse. And Friday night, she was gone. My brother made it from PA. My brother had made it from PA. My sister was there. She left and came back, but it was just so fast. It was so fast. And, I didn't like go down crying that night. It was just kind of like, I left my brother upstairs with her because he was the one who didn't get to spend as much time as I had because she lived with me, So I let him just go up there, talk to her, whatever he needed to say to her privately. And he came downstairs and he was like, Mommy's gone. And I was like, I kind of felt it because the whole time I'm just sitting there praying and when I finally stopped praying, I felt calm. And so when he came downstairs, I wasn't like shocked by the news. I was just like, wow, okay. And I think my sister took it harder than I thought she was going to take it. She's, I'm going to say, my strength in a way, because she the one you call. Like if you want somebody to get dragged and ragged, you call her. That's the one you call. Then you call me because I'll back her up. But she's the one that we call because she's, that headship. And when she broke down, I broke down for her. Not for my mom, but because I saw my sister break down. And I'm like, dang, I ain't think she was going to do that. I didn't think she was going to do that. So I knew my little brother was. I knew my younger brother was, but not my sister. So for me, I just was like, I knew she was in a better place. And the process wasn't so hard because I knew that's what she wanted. And her and God had this relationship. They've been talking this whole time. They've been having conversations. And when I went upstairs to see her, she had a smile on her face. So I don't know who came and got her. I don't know if it was Abraham himself, was like, come on, girl, get up in his bosom. But, I think, whatever it was, she transitioned in a way that I would say only my mother could. Like, she was like, I'm ready to go. And she ain't asked nobody's permission about it. She ain't wait for nobody to say, oh yeah, go ahead, girl. She was like, I'm out, deuces. Don't cry for me. And it was just like a very liberating experience to be able to be there for her, help her. It helped me out in a lot of ways to be like, oh, I can do that for somebody. I can be there for somebody like that. Because I do have a lot of selfishness about myself where I'd be like, no, it's me. It's mine. Don't ask me for nothing. And that's not a very good Christian, way of thinking. But I own my stuff. I'd be like, look, I need some help. And the Lord finds very amazing ways to show you different things about yourself. And through this grief process, I really could say he showed me that, you know, I'm stronger than I thought I was. I'm able to do things that I said I never would do. I'm able to, you know, truly rely on the Lord and put things in his hands and let it go and not hold on to it, which I never thought I could because I'm very controlling about things. I'd be like, I want to take care of it myself. And he just was like, this is something you can't do by yourself. And I was so grateful to, you know, have my family there, to have my sister there, my nieces and everything, my brothers, the way we just came together, and they didn't make it hard for me. They didn't, you know, be like, well, this is what we want to do. And this is, no, when I say we came together, we was like, all right, we getting her, we gonna cremate her, we gonna have a little, you know, memorial service, kind of like, you know, say a few words. And that was mainly for her friends and stuff like that, that lived in other places. And it was just like, whew. And, you know, we had a good time. Like, I feel like we celebrated her in a way that she would want us to celebrate her. You know, we was listening to music, the kind of music she loved, the kind of music we love as a family. And I just was like, I know this is what she will want. This is what she wants. She wants her family together. She wants her kids together. She wants us, you know, not arguing, bickering and stuff like that. So I just, you know, it just showed me a lot about my family that, you know, that we, when this time, when we in clutch time, we good, we got this. So that's what I can say about my grieving process, that, you know, the Lord will show you some things about yourself in the process that you didn't know. He will give you this peace. And when I tell you, people was like, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm at peace. And I kind of like pushed myself away from people because I felt like they was trying to push on emotions to me that I was not having. I'm like, I am at peace. My mother is at peace. We good. Like, now I gotta sit here and deal with my life. My life a mess. Like, I'm grieving the fact that I gotta focus on me. Like, I don't want to do it. So, you know, I'm just like, I appreciate it. And constantly he's still giving me this peace and this joy in the midst of, you know, still grieving. I lost my mother December 4th of 2020. It's still there. There's times that I want to call her and I can't. When I'm having an experience, like when I'm saying I'm having a strong spiritual experience, that was the person I would call because I didn't really think that anybody else could understand what I was saying but her. So, you know, I'm still having those moments like, dang, I can't even call that girl. All right. And then I just kind of be like, well, Lord, I just, you know, this is how I'm feeling. And I'll, you know, share it on Facebook, you know, put it out there like, this is what the Lord has done for me today. I can't share it with my mama, but I'm gonna share it with y'all. This is what the Lord has done for me today. And, you know, it's just a good feeling. I feel good, you know, in between my grieving. I'm okay. I'm at peace, and that's a joy. And, you know, and this is how I grieve. I grieve with jokes. I grieve with laughter and tears. I'm going to cry, but then I'm going to laugh. You know, and that's just me. People like, how you joke about stuff? And I be like, I don't know. That's the way I am, you know. But yeah.
Amen. Oh my gosh. Thank you all. Thank you both for being so transparent there. And Nakia, I know you said that, you know, you can't speak with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
I just tend to think that she still hears you.
Right.
When you're putting on Facebook, talking, whatever you're doing. I just feel that they're still in our presence,
Right.
watching over us. That gives me peace. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I can't, you know, I still have my mom, but I can only sympathize, I'm sorry, with what you're going through. And also Anita, because I still have my husband, but I could just feel the love that you all are speaking of, even though, like you said, you all had the playing relationship, Anita. I'm sorry, Nakia, I think your mom appreciated that too. I
Right.
think she appreciated that. And I heard so many nuggets, so many things. And one thing I heard, Anita, is that you said that your husband, that how you felt, because you felt in a sense that he was selfish when he went, that private, when he was going, he made that decision not to, do you now, as time has gone past, do you now think that your husband's death was destined? And I ask that because, we have a day of death, everyone. We can't do anything about that day. This is just how I feel now. Others may disagree. We can't change that day. I know sometimes the way in which we pass is a little hard to to swallow or to digest, but tell me your thoughts about that. How do you feel about that now that time has passed?
I definitely that it's destined and we all have our day, but I guess in that moment, because it was so many different emotions and the process, and being in that moment when your mind is here, there, and everywhere, you like, man, he should have told me, he should have said something. But thinking back and looking back, I feel like I wouldn't have changed it, because the Lord had everything set up the way it needed to be set up. Because what would I have done if I would have? I probably would have been freaking out and even crazier, knowing. So again, I feel like now that I my feelings and emotions and the grief, I'm at this stage in my grief journey. Yeah, so I just now I think about it, I probably was kind of selfish too, because again, it's like he should have told me, but he probably didn't know how to express what he was feeling, because I always hear people say in that moment they know that it's coming. So what would he have said? I'm gonna die tomorrow? Like, then how would I would have took that, or what would the kids would have done? So I believe every
You're having a little delay. I
thing
think
happened the way it should have happened. So many feelings anymore. I think that it's
yeah, I think we kind of you were coming in and out, but I think the general thing you were saying is that at the time, in the moment, we can say what we would have done. I can say what I would do, but when you're actually in that moment, that's something totally different. And that, yes, at that moment, and that was just as real. Those are real emotions that you felt at that time, and then you say you think that you were selfish. Again, you were experiencing a loss, a sudden loss. So I understand those things that you were thinking, and I'm glad to hear your thought process now, that time has passed and you've had a chance to, really come out of the smoke in a sense, and I'm so glad that we talked about counseling. Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying that, because so many, especially in our community, don't agree with counseling. But I for one, I'm definitely an advocate. The one thing I wanted to ask is that, did you have any loved ones who attempted to discourage you and tell you, girl, we don't counsel, we go to church? That's something that I've heard often. We don't go to counseling, we go to church. And in a sense, you're a hairdresser. You kind of like a counselor. Because a lot of people, in our community, going to the hairdresser, barbershop, that's like counseling. So tell me about that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to another question, and I'm going to let her come back to that, because her internet is kind of coming in and out. But
I will say nobody discouraged me going.
Okay. Okay, I think what she's saying is that no one discouraged her from going. Your internet is coming in and out, Anita, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next question. But she's basically saying, everyone, that no one discouraged her, and I'm so glad to hear that, because like I said, in some households, it is a discouragement. Okay, now I want to ask you, Nakia, your experiences, they were so different. She had a sudden loss, but you also had a loss, even though it may not have been sudden, and you may have had a little time to prepare, you still had a loss.
Yeah.
And you know, and just because it's considered, some people may say one is different than the other. No, we all grieve differently. I think you all said that before. You know, how do you attempt to now tell me about that grief process? I know you said you had your, what did you call it? Your wet cries, I can't.
My
Ugly showers. I love that. You know, that you were able to take that time to go and have a space that you could get away and then come back. I love that. You know, other than your showers, what other kind, what else did you lean on to help you get through that time?
Honestly, my sister, I'm gonna say my sister, me and my sister are the closest of all the siblings. So when I'm having a moment, if I'm having like an anxiety attack or if I'm having a panic attack, she's the one I call. I'm like, look, this is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling it right now. This is how I'm feeling. And, you know, she'll be like, just breathe. Just breathe. She don't say too much. She just be like, just breathe. Because at that moment, it's nothing that you can say. Like, I'm in it. I'm having a hard time. I just went back home to New Orleans for the first time since I came with my mom and my sister. Me and my sister went together. And the day of that trip, I had a panic attack because I'm like, mommy said that she wanted to take me back. And mommy is not here. And I was like, and I'm like talking to my sister, like, I understand. Just breathe. Just breathe. We gonna have a good time. You know, just breathe. So the whole time I'm in New Orleans, I'm sitting here just like, I wonder if if me and my mom went here. I wonder if my mom walked here with me. I wonder if she, that's the thoughts that's going through my head. But I'm like, she with me. I know she with me, and my sister is here with me. I'm good. That's like normally the route in my mind. I'm like, my sister is here with me. I'm good. The Lord has me. I'm good. Like that's just how I get through things. I've been in counseling. I haven't been in grief counseling because I think the process with my mom was something just so different that I'm not feeling that. I'm in counseling for other things, for like my anxiety, the stuff that's going on with me. But for that part, I felt like the Lord had just wrapped me up and just was comforting me. That, like I said, that peace was so surreal. The way my body just kind of relaxed, it was crazy. And I was like, I can't explain that to nobody. Like, I really can't. Because if they don't understand what I'm saying, and for me to keep saying it, like, I'm just like, you know what? One day you'll experience it. I got it. So, it was amazing, like amazing. So.
Amen. Anita, thank you I'm glad you was able to come back to us. We were talking about the fact that your process, they were different. Your loss was different. Yours was sudden. Nakia had a little more time to prepare, but nevertheless, it was still a loss. And I was asking how, I understand some of the things that you mentioned, your family. Outside of that and counseling, what else did you have to lean on? What actually, because I had to stick, because you still had times alone. Family is not always there. Friends, church family, friends, not always there. What did you have to do in those times?
I definitely prayed a lot. I know some people probably like, oh, well, we all can pray and all that other stuff, but truly, 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 I definitely prayed a lot. Because I knew from past experiences, I knew that the Lord was like you said, when family are gone, because family and friends have lives outside of you. It's not like they don't care about you, but they still have to work and still have other things that they need to do. So in those moments, I definitely prayed a lot. And like I was saying earlier, the counseling, the sessions helped a lot. Just being in an environment, the group grief counseling, where I can just sit and cry and process information, that helped a lot. Reading up on grief and the grief process helped a lot. Wasn't just one specific thing, it was multiple things. So if somebody say, well, what is that one thing that got you through? It wasn't just one thing, it was multiple things. Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate you all again. I definitely do. Tell me, first of all, what is your life now, both of you all? Tell me about your life now, and in that with how can we get in touch with you all? Because I'm sure you have some things going on outside of here. Out, you know, some platforms, some emails, Facebook, whatever. Tell us about that.
Well, we do Sister to Sister, that will be posted on Inner City Church of Christ .org, but it's also on Facebook, Inner City Church of Christ, Brother
Baltimore, yeah, Baltimore, yeah.
Lork is the minister for that. But that's how we, process things. Our Sister to Sister is just like how we conversate and how we talk about the things that are going on in our lives, and also but how we navigate that through Christ. Like, we all are going through something, whether it's grief, whether it's, just this Christian walk, dating, however. All these things are navigated through Christ. And if you really want real answers, and not that, only God can, like, yes, God can do all things. Tell me what that process looks like, and tell me how you do it in your life. I don't want to hear the yes, God is good all the time, but that's true. But tell me what that looks like. So for us in our Sister to Sister talk, we tell you what that looks like for whatever we're going through, whether it's our grieving, whether it's our, depression, anxiety, spiritual attack. That's what we talk about at the end of this month, being under spiritual attack. Those are the platforms we use to talk. And life now, like I said, I'm in the process of trying to take care of myself. I just was, taking care of somebody else. Now I'm trying to take care of myself in this Christian walk. And how am I going to transition? I want to transition like she did, with a smile on my face, so I got to work on some stuff. I got some stuff to do. I got some work to do.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I want y'all to hear that now. That is the Sister to Sister platform, Inner City Church of Christ in Baltimore. Make sure it's Baltimore. Okay, and they are doing some work over there. I'm telling you, they are doing some good work, and I want to, continue to pray for you all doing the work that you're doing, because you're doing a great job. Sister Lorick, she's up here too. I love her. You all are doing. You got a gym there, so that's a great thing, And Brother Lorick, Anita, did you want to add to that?
I would just say, life for me is good. Again, I will never forget about my husband, but I know I still have to live. And actually, I'm on vacation right now, so that's probably why the internet is acting crazy, because I'm in this hotel. We're in Florida, so you have to live, because life doesn't stop. It's a process, and you have to keep moving. And again, to piggyback on what Nakia is saying, yes, we just like to have real conversations and real talk, and talk about experiences, again, because we're not the first people who ever grieved. and we won't be the last. So you need to have these real conversations so people can know, hey, I'm not the only one going through what I'm going through.
Amen. Amen. Nakia, I think your sister is up here. Anika?
Mhm.
Okay. She did not say she was your sister.
Is my sister.
Okay. She did not say she was, but the answers and the comments she was giving, I was like, this has to be her sister.
That
You
is
know,
my
I know it was someone that you were very familiar with. That's a great thing. And she's here supporting you. You know, she loves her little sister, or you are the little sister, right?
I'm the little big sister.
The little big, okay. I can
Oh,
tell she loves her little big sister. She put yes. She said, yes, I am her sister. I figured that. Thank you, Anika, for supporting us. I appreciate it. Okay, ladies, that is it. And family, you all please reach out to them, because like I said, these young ladies are doing some great things. The stuff that they've been through, they can definitely help. But you know, they need support too. So make sure that you all support Sister to Sister and Inner City Church of Christ in Baltimore. Y'all make it a good one. You all stay right there.
Okay.
Okay, I ended on Facebook, and when I say stay right there, because we usually have somebody that's on. Hold on, and I'm gonna allow her to talk. Hold on for a second. Donna, do you want to say anything?
You're muted.
Yeah, unmute yourself,
Hi.
Donna.
How's it? Did I unmute it?
Yeah, you're good. We hear you.
Hi, how's everybody?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. I want to apologize for coming on here late because I went to ride my bike and got grown and fell and bust my butt wide open for the first time. I'm talking about ice packs and all. So y'all be serious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Pain, but I had to come on here and I love to listen to this these sessions because the real talk is just that, real talk, and we have to, you know, be transparent and be out here in this world like what Nakia, is it Nakia or Nika?
It's Kia. You can just call me Kia.
Yeah, what you were saying, you know, about you know, what does these things look like, this journey that we have to go through? Yeah, God is good. We know all these things, but what do you do to get through this? You know, and it's amazing because I was just talking to Roz. She, you know, we're learning each other because I have been kind of isolated in the back burner, just to myself, introvert by trade, but I know that there's something else that I need to be doing. And for me to reach out and talk and express myself, it's been a really inferior thing to me for no good reason. But at the same time, these were my feelings and stuff that I have to get past and get through. And you just don't know how much listening to you all inspired me to be able to be more ready when it's time for me to speak out and tell my story, you know, because I'm like, what does it look like? How do you say what you say? I have it all in my brain, but when it's time for me to it's focused 100% on me, and I got to do the speaking, it's like it's all jumbled up, and I get nervous. And I like what you were saying about you can be thinking about something, and you just start crying and bring about something that you may have went through your emotions all over the place. One minute you're laughing and something come out of nowhere, something happened, and it brings back a memory, and it's all normal. But at the same time, you know, you have to know that it's okay and still move forward. So listening to you two ladies have really inspired me in so many areas of things that I was dealing with and need to address, and just didn't know what and how. Like I was telling Roz, you know, I'm a hands-on. I need to know what it looked like, what it feel like. You know, it's detailed for me to be able to better understand it, because I really haven't really interacted with a lot of people in my lifetime because of my story. You know what I'm saying? But I'm coming out that comfort zone so I can be a better disciple for the Lord. I know that He's got something better for me. I just got to embrace it, and like Ross said, just do it. So I'm in my just do it phase, ladies. And
Yeah.
and like I said, thank you for sharing your story, And I hope to be a part of your sister to sister. What is it? Y'all do it so many how many times a month do you do it?
We do it once a month. We had to postpone it this month for my little issue, but it's going to be on the, did we say
29? We said the 29th.
it's going to be on the 29th of this month
Mhm.
at 30.
At what time? It just
At
broke up. 29th,
The
At
29th at 1:30.
1:30.
I don't know if y'all in a different time zone. Are y'all different from us?
No,
Okay.
we're in North
No.
Carolina. We the same as
Okay.
Baltimore. Yeah.
And that what was the name of the congregation again?
Inner City, INNER City Church of Christ, Baltimore. That's what it say.
All right.
Man, I don't know that.
When you pull it up
Yeah.
on Facebook, it says Inner City Church of Christ, Baltimore.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's another
Okay.
inner city Church of Christ. So yeah, if you don't state, and Sister
my
Lorick is very specific about saying that. Baltimore.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Inner City Singers of the South?
No.
The little singing group? Okay. So that my ex was in a group called the Inner City Singers of the South. So I should remember that word. But I'm gonna put this on my calendar. Yes, I am.
Because we were thinking
I'm looking
about having ladies to volunteer to share stories and stuff based on our topics. So we can definitely try to link up with you, because again, we like to keep it real. And the more people who share that are real, again, people just say, okay, these ladies are real, and talking about real stuff that we experience.
And it helps us as you'll be amazed. You know, my minister, you know, he was telling me one time, you would be surprised. We are all just alike. We just don't know it.
Right.
Because, you know, you got, you know, I see that this little halo on your head on Sundays and everything is bubbly and lovely and smile and grin. And, you know, me, I'm, you know, Rosdy, I'm real to the point, have always been since you met me. But some people just can't take your realness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, I say, but it is real.
Yeah.
And so many people going through so much stuff, and you have to reach people where they at. You can't be, oh my God, you know, people, it's real talk. And then you look at the people in the Bible, even those when I read the books of, you know, the Bible and studying up on whatever subject it is I'm looking at, and the characters that had issues even then. You know what I'm saying? But they were still devout men and women of God, but they still had problems. So it tells me that, shoot, there's nobody perfect, but that inferiority of me sitting back and taking the back seat when I decided to 100% follow Christ. I didn't want that old stuff because, you know, you look at me crazy or say something wrong, hit the wrong button. I'm just straight, you know, and just telling it like that, and then it's shunning people away. So I'm starting to feel like something is wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? Rather than to take me under your wings and say, yes, you know, loving on me and seeing my need, because that's what we need from each other, you know, and stop playing games and keep this thing real. You know what I'm saying? And let's learn how to love each other the way God will help us to love each other.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, I would think,
like, you want me to flip a table like Jesus? Because
okay. Or like hands, you know, so, but girl.
I have to let people know. They think that Christians are supposed to, when they be like, the Christian is supposed to turn the other cheek. And, you know, I'm like, check this out. You don't know the Lord that I know, and you don't must be in the Bible that I have been reading, because the Lord was definitely gangster in his approach into a lot of things.
Yeah, you want to
watch how you came at him, because
that's right.
Times that you, like, I was like, dang, Jesus said that. Like, you know, when he said, let the dead bury the dead, like, can you imagine telling somebody, no, you need to be about my Father's business, because this is the business that's going to save you, and let the dead bury the dead. Somebody will want to punch you in the face, but no, Jesus said that about salvation, that, you know, look, you can be out here with those dead folks if you want to, but I'm gonna be over here about this living water. So,
that's right. Yeah.
You know, I think that, you know, when you start to really read the Bible, to me, I had to read the Bible, apply, and see who fit personality. You
Yeah.
know, people be like, oh, I'm out here. I'm like Paul. No, I feel like I'm more like Peter, because if you come at the right person at the right time, you might get your ear cut off. Please
All
don't.
right.
You know, I'm
I'm
like,
loving all of this. Lord have mercy, Jesus.
you know, so I think that, you know, when we start to look at what was really going on, like these people in the Bible was living their real life. It was
That's right.
messy. It was real determined. It was
Right.
real,
Yes.
you know, hectic. And, you know, people be like, I want to be back like the first century church. I don't, because
Mm-mm.
that's where a lot of foolishness started. At the first
Yep.
century church. I don't want to be like the first century church. I want to be the best me I can be for the Lord. And that's,
Amen.
you know, doing me, you know, letting people know that I can relate to what's going on with them, and not just having this Bible in my hand and being like, well, this thus says the Lord. Like,
Right.
like,
Right.
no, sis, I know we got problems. I know you got some things you need to handle. There's, you know, your life might still be messy, but God can help you in that mess.
That's
He'll
right.
better decisions in the mess that
That's
you
right.
go through. And you be like, oh wow, this stuff is starting to clean up. Yes, because you're starting to make better choices.
That's right. That's right.
You know, if I ain't start making better choices, I probably have 6, 7 kids by now. But
Mhm.
like, it was
Thank
like,
God for better choices, huh?
right. Like, you know, close your legs.